The Denver Post, which is one of the largest and, of course, most influential newspapers in the state of Colorado, recently their editorial board came out with a scathing editorial, not just endorsing Lauren Boebert's opponent, but outright begging people to not vote for Lauren Bobert. Now, what struck me about this, of course, we see editorial boards of newspapers constantly endorse one candidate or the other. Sometimes they'll talk bad about the candidate they're not endorsing, but this was less about Bobert's opponent, who again they endorsed, and more about how horrible she is, both as a politician and, quite frankly, as a human being. So let me read this from the editorial board. We beg voters in western and southern Colorado not to give Representative Lauren Bobert their vote. Bobert has not represented the 3rd Congressional District well. Almost exclusively, she has spent her time and efforts contributing to the toxic political environment in this nation. The good people in this district are not angry and abrasive. They're not hateful and caustic. They do not boast of their own prowess or sling insults as entertainment. The ranchers we know working the Uncumbre Plateau, the teachers in Durango, the steel mill workers in Pueblo, and the farmers setting down roots in the San Luis Valley keep to themselves, watch their families grow, and pray for better days. Bobert's unproductive approach, combined with the efforts of others, has helped erode Congress's ability to honestly debate public policy that could help people in her district. In her primary, Bobert called a man born and raised in Montrose County a groomer, a term for a gay man who sexually abuses children. The remark, directed at Don Coram, a conservative Republican and rancher whose son happens to be gay, is just one example of Bobert's casual yet crass cruelty, which she puts on display on a daily basis while in Washington, D.C. Does she feel no remorse for this behavior? She told a joke more than once, implying that a Muslim member of Congress was a terrorist bomber. She uses the derogatory term jihad squad to reference other members of Congress. This is not what Western Colorado or Southern Colorado stands for. Now, I could continue reading because they do a phenomenal job of taking down Lauren Boebert and, of course, as I mentioned, endorsing her opponent, Adam Frisch, who, by the way, according to the most recent polls, does still hold a slight advantage over Boebert, although it is likely Boebert is going to win that race as things stand right now, a week before the election happens. But I think the bottom line is very clear, and this is a bottom line that unfortunately I think the Democratic Party has completely ignored in races all over the country this year. And that is, point out to people in these districts that these conservative lawmakers have done literally nothing for them. They voted against infrastructure packages that would have poured tons of money into their communities. And then after they voted against it, of course, they go begging Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, please send money to my district. And then they boast when that does happen, because Buttigieg isn't as much of a partisan hack as Republicans want to think he is. They boast about, look at what I've done. Of course, those are few and far between, but they're all boasting, of course, about the infrastructure package they did vote against. But beyond that, what have they done? That is the question that the Democratic candidates need to be asking their constituents. Take off your partisan blinders for one damn second and look at your representative. Look around your district, look around your city, and ask yourself, what did they do to make this place better? What have they done to improve my quality of life? Okay, sometimes you got to ask the selfish questions. How does this person benefit me? Other than, of course, being team sports, which is the only benefit these Republicans get from lawmakers like Bobert and Green and Gates and Jordan and Gomert and all the other idiots out there. The only benefit you get is saying, well, I'm a member of the Republican team and the team won, so yeah, that counts for me. It's like people being fans of, a sports team. Like, we won the World Series. No, you didn't win shit. The team that you like did. You don't get a part of that trophy. You don't get yourself a Super Bowl ring. You get nothing out of it. And that's what we see with Republican politics. But all too often, the voters in this country look at it like team sports, without thinking to themselves for 1 second, what is this person, my congressperson, what have they done to make my life any better? Because most of the people in this country, regardless of who your member of Congress is, if you ask yourself that question, the answer is going to be not a damn thing. But most of them are going to be sent back to D.C. next week anyway. Hey everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel? We also encourage you to like, comment, and share. But again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.